So if you haven't read the boys' comic books, then you probably only know Black Noir as this mysterious but kind of sad character the boys' TV show tries to portray him as. But what if I told you that he is not only the true antagonist of the boys series, but he is even worse than Homelander? You see, in the comic books, Black Noir is a stronger clone of Homelander, who was made just in case the real Homelander ever got out of line. But Homelander, for the most part, never done anything that would get Vought into trouble with the public, so this drove him mad. After all, imagine being built for the purpose of killing one man, being forced to live alongside him, watching his every step, but never getting the okay to fulfill your own purpose. This causes Noir to start to frame Homelander by doing the most vile things imaginable while dressed up as him and taking pictures of these acts. And we're going to be getting into some of the worst of these acts in today's most villainous things villains have done, Black Noir. Let's start with the act that created everyone's favorite anti-hero, Billy Butcher. Becky Saunders and Billy Butcher were on their first vacation ever. While in Miami, Becky is assaulted by Noir disguised as Homelander, and he impregnates her in the process. She doesn't tell Billy because she's afraid, and one night while in bed, the baby claws its way out of Becky, taking her life in the process, and begins to shoot lasers at Butcher, forcing him to take its life. This incident is the fuel for Billy's hatred for all supes. So Black Noir not only committed a horrible atrocity against Becky, but he also created the biggest problem for all of supes in the process. And let's not forget, he framed Homelander. So in the comics at least, Billy Butcher's vendetta with Homelander is completely orchestrated by Noir, and Homelander has no idea why this guy even has any personal beef with him.
What do you want? Do you want a confession, or what's your end game?
Now that we got the big one out of the way, let's talk about some of the other things he done and some of the other things that he framed Homelander for, because this man was just going wild the entire comic. This first one isn't something he done as Homelander, but it's pretty fucked up. I'm talking about the time that he stalked and sexually assaulted Huey. This happened during the Herogasm arc. It starts with Noir secretly stalking Huey and watching him beat his meat while on the phone with Starlight. But later, Huey gets caught and abducted in the sewers by Noir, and instead of killing him, or even telling his teammates that he found the enemy lurking around, he decides to just straight up assault him instead. He picks Huey up, removes his pants, and then we see a panel of his thumb and another of him calling Huey good soldier, before he leaves him face down and ass up on the sewer ground and runs off. As you can see, this guy's pretty diabolical. Like, he didn't even care that the enemy was trying to sabotage the party. He was just trying to get his rocks off. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, though, let's talk about the photos that drove Homelander over the edge and the time that Black Noir ate a baby. So this is something he done as Homelander, and was the thing he eventually uses photos of to set Homelander over the edge. More on that in the next part, don't worry. So about 20 years before the events of the boys' story, the only incident that Vought had recorded with Homelander happened. He was pushed too far one day, and ended up slaughtering multiple innocent people, doing some unspeakable things to men, and even ate a baby. Except, it wasn't Homelander at all. This was actually one of Noir's first early attempts at framing Homelander, so that Vought would pull the trigger on his assassination, but they swept it under the rug instead, which leads me to the final part of this video. But first, if you made it this far, leave a like and subscribe, and maybe tell me the most villainous thing that you've ever witnessed in an anime. Back to the video. Black Noir is the reason that Homelander eventually goes insane. Don't get me wrong, Homelander was already doing some fucked up shit too, but it stayed mostly within Vought, like the things he done to Starlight and Maeve. So if it wasn't for Noir's scheming, he wouldn't have tried to take over the government when he did. You see, Noir had taken photos of the rampage he went on that I talked about in the last part, and he had sent them to the boys. When Homelander sees this, he has no recollection of any of the terrible things he did. So he decides he must have forgot, and from then on to give on to his impulses, and eventually he takes over the White House, even the president. It is here he is confronted by Billy, who calls him out for assaulting his wife, and Homelander tells him he probably done it, but he doesn't remember it. And then Black Noir comes in, straight geeking, talking about,
I did things.
And at this point, he reveals he was a clone, and the one who committed most of the horrible acts before Homelander gave in. And he was even the one who sent the photos to the boys. This causes Homelander to have a breakdown and attack Noir, finally giving Noir what he wanted this entire time. So, Noir wasn't the only one doing terrible things in the series, obviously, but he was either responsible for or the cause of some of the most villainous acts in the comics, and if not villain history, because eating a baby just to frame another man is near the top of the most villainous things I've ever heard of. Like Dio would even be disgusted by this level of villainy. Anyway, if you guys have any villainous acts from any comic books, anime, or TV shows, leave them in the comments below so that we can keep this series going. And until next time, I've been the Popular Introvert.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.